HD2 and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in the Flower City. The sun is out. Literally, figuratively, everything is great. It's awesome. 585-866-4326 is our number. You can reach us on X, our handle, at WGR Rochester. We are streaming online for free in the Odyssey app. We are available on YouTube and Twitch. Of course, 95.7 FM and AM 950. All the platforms you can take in the show. As how we feeling today? Feeling fantastic. Our fine producer, Tim Schneider. Before we get to, the game last night, might have missed it yesterday. A game that took, I think, 5 years off my life, listening to it on our station. Okay, the Amerks have a lead. No, they don't. Amerks have a lead. No, they don't. And this cannot end for Don Stevens like this. And it didn't, as the Amerks, old-fashioned, it would have been a tie, but they go to overtime. Devin Levi gets run over. They don't even call it. That's the officials, Tim, saying, yeah, you know what? We're done. Let's just...
The result necessary was met. Let's get out of here.
Yep.
That I had people messaging me I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
I can not imagine what it was like for Don and Andrew during those flip-flop moments where we're in a good spot. Oh, we're in a bad spot. What's going to happen next? I'm sitting here literally by myself alone from when they tied the game at 4 with 9 or so minutes to go. It was just me in here sitting, didn't say a word, didn't think, didn't speak, just waiting. And I think that I almost threw up a lunch that I never had.
Yeah, it was. That's why we love sports, right? But this is an Amherst team. Let's not kid ourselves. They are not playing their best hockey, and you can come up with many, many reasons. They finish out the season on a 5-game winless streak, but they get the 1 point yesterday. That's all you needed. It would have been horrible had you had 5 games to go, and all you needed was 1 point. And you couldn't do it. So we move on. It's going to be Toronto. And up until this weekend, Toronto wasn't great either. But then they end up sweeping Laval. Go figure. But they still can't get out of the 4 spot. So the Amherst playoff schedule, it fits in very nicely. Wednesday night, that will be the game up in Toronto. Okay, game 1 in Toronto Wednesday night. Not only do you get game 2 in the Flower City, you get game 2 on a Friday night when the Sabres aren't playing. So, kudos to you, the Rochester sports fan, because a sellout for the Amerks on this past Friday and 9,000 plus for the Nighthawks on Sunday. So, coming up this Friday, that's the only thing in town, Amerks playoff hockey. So, their front office, ticket office right now, I'm sure, scrambling to get all the word out. We'll talk tomorrow, I think, with Mike Leone. However, that might be right when they're crossing the border. I'm not sure how that's all going to time out, but we'll certainly talk some Amherst hockey. Great show we have lined up for you today. Our phone number again, 585-866-4326. That is the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub. 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. Bottom of this hour. Good friend of the show and now a successful author. He is the agent for Patrick Mahomes. He is one of the best agents of all time, Lee Steinberg. We're lucky to have this relationship. Lee Steinberg will be talking about the upcoming NFL draft, which, let's be honest, kind of feels overshadowed in this part of the country, right? Does it not? But this is draft week, and we'll get the insight of Lee Steinberg coming up bottom of this hour. Hour number 2, our favorite noted jerk, Joey Yurden, Bleacher Report, noted hockey, as, of course, he was there covering the Sabres last night. Sabres already completing their morning skate. Lindy Ruff just speaking moments ago. So we'll talk Sabres hockey coming up next hour. Again, you're welcome to join us at any point during the show at 866-4326. Don't be a stranger. You can call. You can write in. You are friends with us if you're listening to the show. That stuff last night normally happens to us, where you have the game and it's looking good, and whether it's, I don't know, fill in the blank here, 13 seconds or no goal or Leotis McKelvin and there's Tom Brady. Like, granted, it's only the opening game of the postseason. And if the Sabres are going to have the dream season, we got 15 more of these victories to go. We should get past May and get to June. But to win a game like that where you're knocking on the door, and somebody might think, oh, well, the Sabres woke up late. No, they didn't. I thought they played pretty well. And when you're playing pretty well, that's hockey, Susan. Sometimes you look up at the scoreboard and like, what the heck? How can we not solve this guy? Well, Swayman was excellent. He was. And the Bruins have veterans on this team. The Bruins are a little top-heavy. Their top line, you could put it out there with anybody, right? But, and we talked to all our hockey experts about this, is their defense really up to the task? And it wasn't the young defense. And Charlie McAvoy can't get the puck out of the zone. The little things of hockey. They make a big difference. And not a little thing. Geeky, wide open net. What are you doing going for the extra pass? Man, that's one thing I think the Sabres could do a little less of. But last night, can you imagine that gives Boston a 2-0 lead, maybe a 3-0 lead? They go up 3-0, and yeah, I don't think the Sabres are coming back. But the Sabres do have one of the best in the game today in Tage Thompson. And getting those 2 quick goals, and they play a style that they've kind of come into breast calling it river hockey. Like, defensemen will jump in, and there's Samuelson getting the feed. And as Jeremy White pointed out on the show this morning, like, when you hear just the raw audio of, you see Matthias Samuelson getting the puck right there, top of the circle, oh my gosh, this could be it, put us ahead. It was unbelievable. I was not there. I was like you watching that on television last night. And we are on to game number 2 tomorrow night. Now, this pays dividends too, in my opinion. Meaning, hey, you're hoping this is a long run for Buffalo, right? Is it really going to be all comfy 4-1 wins from here on out midway through the third period? You know the Sabres have it? The answer is no. No, it's not. Now you have a reference point at any point. The opponents, Boston will punch back. Boston's not dead in this series. Boston has Swayman. But now at any point, you know, okay, we have the ability. We belong here. Also, let's just kind of say this, because the Sabres have answered the question every time with a yes, meaning, hey, this is a lot of fun. Oh, my gosh, I lost to Pittsburgh before the Olympic break. How is this going to look coming out of the Olympic break? This could be totally different. Now, how does a team take 3 weeks off nearly and come back? No, the answer is Sabres said, yeah, we're good. Don't worry about that. Oh, my gosh, look at the schedule. How is this schedule going to be? Wow. Yeah, the Sabres in a playoff position, but you haven't played Tampa Bay. Oh, my gosh, what's going to happen? 4 games against Tampa Bay. That's true. All the games against Tampa Bay came post-Olympic break.
And they won them all.
Sabres answered the question, yes. All 4 games, Buffalo won. And now, this is another legit question we put out. This is great. How does this translate to Stanley Cup hockey? Because this is a different beast. And guess what? The Sabres showed you they are ready for postseason hockey. That looked fantastic last night. And if you want to talk some Sabre hockey, by all means, at 866-4326. It is the most unexpected thing here, history of Western New York sports. I know I'm living in the moment, but I'm saying unexpected from, hey, you go back to October, there's 8,000 people in the arena. And now you have, 5 times that? Standing outside while it's snowing. It's snowing this morning in Rochester. The sun's out now. No one cares. It's great. It might as well be 75 in sun right now. This is what happens when your team starts to kind of go on a roll. So things a franchise we kind of forgot how much we loved. There it is. And if you're saying, hey, I'm late to the party, by all means. I'm trying to break the stigma of hockey. Hockey's for everyone. Come on board. It's okay. You don't need to know all the nuances. You know offside and icing? Great. Did you know like you can, throw the puck over the glass? No, you can't. You'll get called 2 minutes for that. Like there are certain things that sure, hockey people really dig into, but all you need to know is it's a lot of fun. Get on board. So, Sabres hockey tomorrow night here on WGR Rochester. And again, Sabres Tuesday, Amherst game 1 Wednesday, Sabres game 3 in Boston Thursday. What else is Thursday? Oh my gosh, it's the draft. Whew.
Gonna be a week.
The press conference is going on right now, by the way. And if anything noteworthy comes out of this, meaning in Buffalo, today is the day. All teams are required to do this. Hey, let's talk here to our local media and give you some quotes about the draft. So today, Brandon Beane, Joe Brady, Josh Allen, all three are talking. So Josh Allen, when he talks, hey, we haven't heard from him since he became a dad, so I'm sure there's some human interest stories. How's the rehab going? All that sort of stuff. And Josh Allen, I don't even think you would even call it rehab now. He's doing OTAs. He should be fine coming back from that surgery for the broken foot. We saw him the Brady press conference on crutches. Now he's out there, but and you would anticipate he's going to be full go here come minicamp. But anything that comes out of that, we will certainly pass along to you. And it's another point here. Did you ever think something here locally could knock the NFL draft out of the top spot when it comes to, our the list of things we're interested about? Like, sure, this is big for the Bills. The Bills need, I would say, ideally you want to come away with 3 guys that are going to help you win games this year. And that's kind of a tall order, right, when you don't have a second-round pick. But I think it can be done. I think that you trade down just a little bit and maybe you pick up, say, an extra 3rd or 4th rounder, and by doing so, then you'll have 3 picks in rounds 3 or 4. I don't think the Bills are going to be able to recoup a second unless they completely trade out of the first round and really, really go down. But I think that the reasonable thing here for Buffalo is to trade down in this draft. And we will talk certainly more NFL draft. Matt Perino will join us here on the show tomorrow. But if anything noteworthy that Brandon Beane or Joe Brady or Josh Allen says today here in this press conference that's being held right around now, we will pass that along for you here on WGR Rochester. 866-4326 is our phone number to call, as last night was certainly a special night out in Buffalo. And for the Amherst, gosh, did that save Mike Leone's job? Sounds like a cruel question, but just to think that if you finish the season on a 5-game losing streak, everything is up for review. I think to answer my own question, Leone, because what do they have out there? They have, you're trying to spin this forward, a guy that should be, you would think, a top 6 forward in Buffalo 4 years from now. In Constellanius. He's really, really good. But other than that, these are just guys that are just trying to work and get to their next job, get to their next paycheck, keep the season rolling here. And for Devin Levi, there's not a lot of help in front there. But again, yesterday it was back and forth, listening to Don on the call. My question for you, Tim, is Don going to share that 5-pound chocolate bar? That takes, what is the more unique gift for Don Stevens?
That's got to be it.
Not the chair, the chocolate bar.
The chair is cool. The chocolate is something like, do you eat that or do you just hang it up? Like, it's not going to go bad per se.
No, chocolate doesn't go bad. I won't say which chocolate shop this is, but this is what somebody told me. And you want to go into a business, it's like, all right, hey, it's Easter time. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do with all this chocolate from Easter? You melt it, and then you heat it up, melt it, and then you put it in a mold, and now it's for Santa or something like that. That's like legitimately that chocolate's not going to go bad. I want to know, did this actually have Don's face in it? Did they create a special bar for it. I saw the outside package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and I don't think Don ever got a goodbye from the Marlies. I think that's what Andrew told us. So now Don gets to go up to Toronto this weekend. But I if anything, like what hockey is, it's about relationships, right? Just like anything else in life. And you and I, Tim, I would have felt terrible for Don if that's the way it ended. Like if you get the 1 minute to go and they score.
Oh man, that would have been gut-wrenching.
That would have been terrible. Like, and by the way, forgive me, Don, for my impression of you when the opposition scores. But we've been listening to you since 1986. It's something like that would have been not the way to go out. And I'm listening to the whole time because honestly, like I'm there will be a sign-off that comes up from Don Stevens, and that's going to be very bittersweet. I'm really happy that people are catching on to this, and you could say, oh, it's political grandstanding. Okay, whatever. But like for the city of Rochester, for the county to recognize Don, for the hockey community, like it's all fantastic. But the reality is, for Don, he made the choice, and it's going to come to an end here. But you're hoping it's not this weekend. Personally, wouldn't it be fantastic if the Hammers went up to Toronto and then they had a chance to wrap it up Friday evening here? That might be getting a little greedy on my part here, but
that first game, though, it changes the scope.
Oh, it's a best of 3. This is the shame on you round. You didn't take care of your business, right? It used to be 1-4, 2, but then they realized, you know what? If we're really about development, what do we really want to reward the 4th place team? And then you just kind of doubled up. And for the Amherst next year, get ready because that division is going to go from 7 to 8. And what they do in the 8-team divisions is you have playing rounds for 3 and 6 as well as 4 and 5. So from that standpoint, if you are Laval, Syracuse, or Cleveland, you get rewarded for, hey, you didn't have to fall to this level. For the Amherst, they get in by a hair, whatever cliche you want to say. But to me, it's like it does not matter. I think it's fantastic. One of the Rochester note, too, while we're sticking on the Rochester stuff, is after starting the season at 2-0, look, the Nighthawks, this is not a good year. They went on to lose 12 of 16. And whether or not Randy Mearns returns as coach, you got the interim. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. 6-12 ends up being the final record. Only Philadelphia had a worse record, and Philadelphia, by the way, is done this year. They're gonzo. Either the franchise is moving or folding, but they're not going to be in Philadelphia. 9,024 were in attendance on Sunday. So bravo to you, the Rochester sports fan, the lacrosse community, for going out. And sure, they had some ticket deals going on for sure. That doesn't matter. You went out. And you showed that, okay, we deserve that. And that is a franchise record. Now, this is the new franchise, right? We'd have to dig back to the years of, you really want to go back to Gate, at the beginning there. But the new franchise under the Pagulas never got to this mark, even with the Bandits. So now we can put that to rest. One thing we can put to rest here in Rochester is like, oh, well, your attendance is because of Buffalo. No, they did it on their own. And it's because they have this new front office that's trying to prove and just get to work here. And that's what happened. They got to work. They're selling sponsorships. They're selling tickets. They're getting the word out. There wasn't a week that went by that I didn't hear from Craig Rubczynski or somebody in that front office saying, hey, can we talk to – oh, yeah, absolutely. And so – this is a team that, now we won't hear from until November, but it's good for our community that we have a team like that. And, and thank you to the Seneca Nation for stepping up to the plate on that. We will talk next hour, Sabres hockey. Joe Yurden was in the arena last night. Is this going to be a long series? Thinking the answer to that could be yes, because after all, it was only a 1-goal game last night, the final margin. Lee Steinberg, Super Agent Lee Steinberg will be calling us here in just a little bit. My name is Gene Battaglia, and this is the Sports Bar, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
You're in. WGR Rochester Sports Update.
It's on to game 2 for the Buffalo Sabres. 4 third-period goals, 4-3 the final over Boston. Tage Thompson on his big night.
I don't think by any means it was individual effort. I think if you look at both those plays, it's from both of my line mates forechecking and disrupting and causing a turnover, and I'm in the right spot where a puck finds me off their pressure. And I think those 2 goals are exactly what we wanted to do all night. Put pucks behind them, pound their D, make it a tough night on them.
Game 2 is tomorrow in Buffalo. The Rochester Americans begin the best of 3 as the Emmerich get in on the final day. Series begins Wednesday night in Toronto. Game 2 in the Flower City on Friday. It's Patriots Day in New England in Boston. At Fenway Park, the Red Sox and Tigers are tied at 3 in the 6th. Rochester Red Wings begin a series at Scranton Wilkes-Barre tomorrow night. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
The best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
It is draft week as we welcome you back into the Sports Bar as Thursday night, round 1, 2, and 3 on Friday. And certainly there are so many stories behind these athletes, including, who helps them and guides them throughout the process. Lucky to have this relationship with super agent Lee Steinberg joining us now. Lee, also the author of The Comeback, which we will talk about here in a little bit. And Lee, for folks who may not know, we've discussed this before, but just kind of reset, you were really the inspiration behind the movie and the character Jerry Maguire. Now, in that movie, there's a storyline of a quarterback whose father wants him playing for a particular team, and they engineer a trade. That was fiction. What is reality when it comes to the NFL? How much right now is going behind the scenes when it comes to an agent trying to maybe engineer or help where his client may go?
What you're trying to do at this point is to identify those teams that have the most proximate desire to actually pick your player off the board, because you're trying to prepare an athlete for where he might go. And you might not know the exact order, but you know who the hot teams are that have said, if you come up on our pick, we're going to take you. And you're trying to prognosticate that so that you can prepare a family and a young athlete for the experience. What you don't want to do is go back to Pittsburgh with projections that you'll be the first or second pick, and all of a sudden you go in the 3rd round, and the whole broadcast becomes a stunning fall of, Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith or Brady Quinn or some of the storylines they've done, and you'd rather not let it happen. Now, a lot of players would rather not go to the site in Pittsburgh, but to stay at home, because then they can have every member of their family, every cousin, every teammate all in the same room enjoying the experience together.
Yeah, and you brought up players that fall. If we can go back to last year in Shedeur Sanders, is there some sort of disconnect between what us on the outside think an evaluation and what the expectation should be for a player, disconnect between that and what actual NFL talent evaluators thought? Is that as simple as what happened to Shedeur, Lee, in your opinion?
Well, the dilemma is you've got the player's father and everyone else saying this should be a franchise quarterback, he should be picked first. It was not a great tragedy, even though he dropped rounds for Shedeur Sanders to end up with Cleveland, where there was Joe Flacco and then a bunch of untested quarterbacks. So that actually gave him a better spot to build a career from than a lot of people. But that wasn't the story on draft night. On draft night, it's, this poor fella. So the projections in that case were the problem. They were just wrong.
Lee, what are the best practices for an agent when it comes to making sure that his client gets drafted higher, therefore getting him more money and exposure? What needs to happen throughout this whole process in order to maximize that success?
Yeah, it all starts with training. So today we have sophisticated techniques where players go off in January and February, get advanced nutrition, work on the 5 testables, the 40, bench press, vertical leap, horizontal leap, and 3-cone drill. And they can be produced for the process in much better shape than they walked into training. And then it's understand how the All-Star games work, the combine works, and that there's a second bite of the apple on what's called Pro Scouting Day that happens in March on the actual campus itself. And so it's sussing out and understanding what the knocks are that teams have against a player and seeing if there are ways that you can counter that in drafting. It's also making sure that behaviorally you have a player who's going through this process smoothly, and this is not a good time to have a DUI or something come out that was a post. You've got background screeners going back to when these players were in elementary school.
Yeah, and I guess it's for anybody else, just like in a way coming out of college too, Lee, that, hey, some of this, in terms of the process, you're meeting with these teams, these decision makers, whether that's at the combine or a top 30 visit. Do you give your clients those that try to give them that skill set too? Is that not as important just in terms of to actually interview for a position?
It is important because teams are evaluating for character, commitment to football, and so we bring in a retired general manager who's done those interviews at the combine and have him Q&A the player. You're not trying to change his personality. You're just trying to give him a sense for what they're looking for and an understanding that you may go to the chalkboard during that and have to diagram plays. And you want to make sure that that player is so well prepared for every aspect of the scouting situation. And then you start to try to isolate teams that come forward that say they have a special interest in drafting you. And it comes down to teams. So when Patrick Mahomes is coming out, we know that at a certain point in the line that the New Orleans Saints are interested. Houston is very interested, and they're sort of sitting there in the 11th and 12th pick. So that's where someone traded into the 10th pick. But we were aware of all the interested teams.
Yeah, Lee Steinberg, super agent, author of The Comeback as well, our guest here in the Sports Bar. As Lee, it's not only guys in the first round, it's guys that seventh round. What about players that do not get drafted? For those undrafted prospects, trying to figure out in a very short time frame here, what is the best opportunity? Because certainly you can't wait too long to make that decision.
You're absolutely right. It's a very fast process. They have franchises start calling a player during the 6th or 7th round to say they'd be interested in signing with a free agent. Now, the player's reaction is, wait a second, there's 2 more rounds to go. Just take me off the board. But what happens is those deals are done very quickly. Usually the last day of the draft, right when it ends, to the next day. And those are called preferred free agents. And today they have a reasonable chance of making the team because the salary cap dictates that if you're paying a superstar $40 million, he's got to be backed up by someone at the minimum.
Yeah, it's Lee Steinberg, the author of The Comeback Playbook for Turning Life's Setbacks into Victories. And Lee, we had you on right before it came out. I got an advance copy. It's fantastic. Lee, how has the book been received so far?
Oh, it's been really well received. I've gone to college campuses, Penn State, Arizona State, Cal. I've done a number of book signings, and I wrote the book to try to help people who hit some crisis in their life. It could be financial, could be medical, could be relationship, or it could be, in my case, it was abusing alcohol. And so when life sets you back that way, the question is, can you be resilient? And it's the forwards by Troy Aikman, and it's got stories about Troy and Warren Moon and Steve Young and Patrick Mahomes, and a series of athletes or people from the athletic world who face challenges and crisis and how they came through it.
Well, Lee, you read this, and as you mentioned, some of this, it's tough, and having to maybe relive that, putting it down on paper when you were down and out, it wasn't pretty. How difficult was it for you to bear it all here?
I laid out step by step how you can find resilience. That's the key quality. It's the ability to see light at the end of a dark tunnel, and the ability to come up with a plan and come back to a more fulfilling life. And so if anyone's out there struggling, despondent, depressed because of problems with substance or anything else, the book will lay out ways that you can have a happier life.
Yeah, and then you get back into it. It's Paxton Lynch. It's Patrick Mahomes you represent. And there was a quote there from the owner talking about Chiefs at Seahawks, Lee. And, he said, well, maybe the league doesn't want to put the Chiefs there because they're not sure Patrick is going to be ready in time for the season. The simple question is, how is Patrick doing in his recovery right now?
Thank you.
Lee? Hello, Lee.
He's gone.
Wow. Okay. Was I not supposed to ask that question?
I don't know the answer to that one, but he did say thank you.
Wow. Okay, maybe he's calling
back.
back. Yeah, okay, he's calling back. All right.
Just dive right in.
Okay. Lee, do we have you? You're on the air, Lee.
Yeah, he started being very hard to understand.
Oh, nope, it's Gene here. I'm sorry. Maybe the line got bad there. The question was about Patrick Mahomes. We're on the air, Lee. Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
How's your client doing in his recovery here?
Very well. It's hard to predict exactly when someone will recover, but when it comes to work ethic and energy, he throws it all into it. And so again, precise timeline unclear, but if a positive result comes from working hard, that's Patrick.
Yeah, Lee. I know you're very busy this week. We'll let you go. And any chance that one of those book signings is coming within driving distance here on the East Coast sometime soon?
Eventually, we'll get there. And Rochester is a favorite city of mine. My high school girlfriend was from Rochester, so I have fond memories of it. So we'll see. We're going to go out for a number of months.
Well, we'll be keeping tabs, Lee. Appreciate the time, as always. Be well, and let's do this again soon. Thanks so much, Lee.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Lee Steinberg, author of The Comeback. And can I take a deep breath here, Tim?
Yeah, that was something.
That was like, wow. I'm thinking that it was
Are we in trouble?
So out of bounds. I didn't think. Didn't but it just turned out cell phone issues. Yes. But if you missed any of that, you can go download the Odyssey app, listen back to it in real time. We appreciate the time from Lee Steinberg, which means we have plenty of time. I don't know what you have planned today. I don't want any wrestling talk. I understand.
You are cursed.
I don't care. Oh, wow. I'm going to lift the curse. Wow, I really did a great job there, Timmy.
It might work. You might get the first overall pick instead. That's not a curse.
Are you kidding? Stop. I don't care about draft picks. You think the Dodgers care about draft picks? No. Yankees care about draft picks? No. We're back to being a joke of a franchise. There, I said it. Yeah. At least we have hockey to talk about. We have Joe Urian, noted hockey, who will join us also next hour. Gene Battaglia with you here, along with Terrible Tick Jim Schneider and Dan Drummey, WGR Rochester.
Or TuneIn apps.
Hey, it's Gene here for Window Nation. Spring has arrived, and it'll be a great time to open your windows. Wait. Hold up. Your windows won't open easily. They leak when it rains or snows. They have cracked glass. They need repainting again. Well, getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation is easy and affordable. Right now, during the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, you can save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you can get them with zero interest for 5 years. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is in your home. In fact, experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and closed. They're made with top-quality seals, so they won't leak when it's rainy or windy. And unlike other windows, they're maintenance-free. They're so good. Window Nation stands behind them with a lifetime warranty. And they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Save big with Window Nation's The More You Buy, the More You Save sale going on now. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com now for a consultation.
L Source Chiropractic is right.
hanging out in the sports bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
I can't think of a good counter argument to this, but if you want to try, by all means. The counter argument would be to what I'm going to say right now. That in this day and age, if you are voting for something, whether that's the Pro Football Hall of Fame or any award, put your name on it. Like your ballot should be exposed. And it's, after all, it's only sports, right? But you want to keep everything above board. And I think we kind of learned that with the Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame. Like, really? Really? The guy won how many Super Bowls? And before that, great defensive mind with the Giants. And, okay, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but if you feel that way, you should explain yourself. So what would be the counter argument from not shining a light on this? And where I'm going with this is, I mean, there's so many kind of aftershocks, right, from the whole head coach being in a position with an NFL reporter. And that would be Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. Mike Vrabel, for now, seems like he's gone on with his life. We'll hear from him, I'm sure, this draft weekend. Maybe we won't. Maybe they'll just not have him in the background. But regardless, he'll be continuing on with his job for sure. The NFL this week said, no, there's going to be no discipline. There's nothing to see here when it comes to Mike Vrabel. The Athletic felt differently. They were going to investigate Diana Rossini. And, again, we don't need to go all down that road. But the question is this. Should Diana Rossini and her vote for the AP Coach of the Year award, should we look at that ballot? Mike Vrabel was the Coach of the Year. Now, you could say he deserves it. And I would say, yeah, that, to me, a second-year quarterback, not a lot in the cupboard, a team that was picking fourth this time last year, and you go from that to eventually a Super Bowl, you're the Coach of the Year. But it was a very, very tight race. Vrabel, 302 points. Liam Cohen, 239. Vrabel got 19 points. Cohen got 16. I don't think there's any scenario where one ballot would have flipped it. But wouldn't it be telling if Diana Rossini voted for Vrabel and also the guy, do you remember who finished second MVP voting? It was actually Drake May. Drake May, who didn't throw for 300 yards last year, but because, hey, we're kind of going above expectation, we're going to give him an award. I want to see these ballots. Why not? Why not at this point? And I'm curious to see what the next act for Rossini is. I'm going to go on record. I don't want her banned from the sports media. I think there should be if we do this for sports figures, give them second chances. Why can't we do it for a sports reporter? I mean, she's going to have to live with it and whatever in her private life. But I would just be curious to see and the AP isn't responding because the AP is very stuffy. That's, it's like baseball writer, right? 585-866-4326 is our phone number. We'll get to Timmy's terrible take of the day. Oh, my gosh. All right. It is a new show here, 2.0.
Can this be my terrible take?
Can it be your terrible take?
Let it ride. Let him out.
Oh, no. Yeah. Luke from Rochester. Like, Luke, you haven't angered me personally here. Luke, you're on the show.
There was never any beef between you and I. But listen, I honestly and seriously want to tell you that you're doing a great job. I've been listening over the past few weeks. And I really found that interview you did with Lee really exceptional. I mean, he was really open about representing clients, gave a lot of detail, and you were excellent in your questions. I really just wanted to applaud you on both.
Well, thank you,
All right.
Luke, but the ban is lifted. It's a new show. There is no such thing as a ban. So you don't have to kiss up to me. I'm only kidding, Luke. Thank you for
No,
the
I'm
compliment.
totally serious. I am totally serious. That interview you did elicited a lot of information from a super agent, and the way you did it, was excellent. And there was that glitch in communication, but thank God for you, it got cured.
I thought I wasn't supposed to ask him about Mahomes and the rehab there. I'm like, did he hang up on me? That's well, Luke. Thank you.
It seemed that way. It seemed like that, but to his credit, he called back and and was able to finish the interview. But listen, great job. And one final point, believe it or not, I'm gonna have to support Joe Brady.
Well, yeah, what are you gonna change teams now, Luke? You can't.
Oh my God! In a sense, I wasn't really happy when my sister told me that he was hired, but it just makes a lot of sense. The offense wasn't broken really too much. It was mostly the defense, and hopefully it'll get cured now.
Well, Luke, thank you for the compliment and the kind words. And if you're kind of not familiar with the old show, he got banned. Do we have that, Tim? Can you find
I've
that?
got one of them. I don't know. I don't think I have the second time. I do have the first time.
The first time was really, really bad.
I can find the second one. Give me 10 seconds.
No. This is the first one. He's only been This is the one we're talking about, where the Bills defeat the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round, and now they're one step away from the Super Bowl. Luke in Rochester. Welcome, Luke.
Hey, guys. I like your thinking today. Listen, Gary kind of made me realize that the Bills are really a good team, and you guys sort of went off and talked about possible parade. I think it could happen. However, last night was really concerning for me. Joe Brady had 36 rushing attempts, 22 passing attempts. Bills could have blown the Ravens out in the second half when they received the kickoff where they were up by 11. If they actually passed the ball. You got Tony Romo, as the game was tightening, talking about how the ball should be in Josh Allen's hands at least 2 out of the 3 downs. And he's repeating it several times. And it's not the first game they said that involving the Bills. I think the last time they played Kansas City might have been the other time. But I can't wait for Brady to leave, and he should take McDermott.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Luke. Okay. Luke.
Time out.
No,
Luke.
You've got to be. Oh.
Luke just hates every coach.
Okay.
If it's not McDermott, it's Brady, Luke? Are you out of your mind, dude? If we're lucky, we have him as an offensive coordinator again next year because he's going to be a head coach in the NFL. And he's going to be a head coach in the NFL because he knows when to put his foot on the gas and he knows when to take it off. And he's working hand in hand with the head coach who you've called on this show for to be fired multiple times, and a lot of times for no reason other than you just don't like the guy. Luke, come on. Come on, man. We're better than that. This show is better than that. You need to be better than that. It's a Victory Monday, and you want to see, you can't wait for Joe Brady to leave? Luke, banned! Whoa. Banned! You're done. I'm executive powers in the sports bar. Luke has been banned from the show. You heard me.
Wow.
And Luke, I don't know what's going on in your life, buddy. I hope you're okay. But to call up on a Victory Monday and say, I can't wait for Joe Brady to leave, you're banned.
I've heard this, like, well, Brady's game plan. Can we review the 2 drives? Because everybody's thinking double dip. Hand off to Cook with the 6-man front. You only get the 1 yard. Pass to Dalton. Kincaid needs to catch that ball.
Yes.
It's an execution thing on that drive. And then the third is blown up because, well, guys got through. Again, execution drop. Well, why is Brady calling, the screen to Dawson Knox? Timeout. That was a Josh Allen check.
I'm stunned. I'm speechless. He's called in so many times in the past, we need to fire Sean McDermott. I've been critical of Sean McDermott. You've been critical of Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is not being fired, and Joe Brady, we shouldn't be calling up on a Victory Monday saying, I can't wait for Joe Brady to not be here anymore. Are you out of your freaking mind? Luke, be better.
Okay, I'm going to raise my hand here. Mike Danger, hi, I'm the call screener of the show. What do I tell somebody who has been Wow, here's the list. Luke from Rochester.
That's right.
Banned.
That's right. Congratulations,
Luke. You can still listen. You're welcome to listen. You're just not going to get on the air.
We appreciate it, Luke. You are on the list, one of one. That is the worst call we have taken in the, how many years have we been on the air?
This is going to be coming up on year number 9.
We're coming up on year number 9.
9 times.
That is the worst call we have taken in the history of the sports bar. Luke, you're banned.
Now, Tim, now that I see this is exquisite timing by Luke today, because you and I haven't talked about any of this. Honestly, like I hadn't thought of status of Luke from Rochester. But if there's a day that you would find the host in a good mood when the Sabres rally last night, today would be the day I came on the air. I'm in a great mood. Let's talk some sports. Wow, this might be the day I can get through. Number 2, this is also the one. Butter up the host. What a great interview we had with Lee Steinberg. The show is going great. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's already on the air at that point, but I never had the conversation with you, Tim, about what to do with Luke from Rochester. But you know what? Okay, I'm the bleeding heart. Yay! Hey, come on in. Luke, you're welcome to call anytime. The ban has been lifted officially.
I knew I knew who I was talking to when I screened the call. I was not sure what the rules were with it being technically my segment here, so I figured if we're going to have a terrible take, we might as well let Luke try and steal it, but he was very nice to you.
I think you were just trying to get out of... Do you have a terrible take?
I've got a take. You want to? Let's go.
Let's go.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
I'm going to dive right in. Not the division that you typically speak of, being a Bills fan, but the Bengals, frauds. And it begins immediately, and I know that you're going to touch on it shortly with the Dexter Lawrence trade. They are playing catch up on purpose because they chose to. They could have just kept Hendrickson and had a first-round pick. What changes? They now no longer have Hendrickson. They no longer have a first-round pick. They got Dexter Lawrence instead. Not an upgrade, and it's Hendrickson's within the division still. The Ravens are better than the Bengals to begin with. The Steelers somehow always better than everybody, even though they stink. The Bengals are trying to fit in, but they are losers. They are the people that you keep around to feel better about yourself, and the Bengals don't realize that.
Okay. I think it's important to admit our biases, Tim.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, and your bias would be?
I don't even care about the Bengals.
No. Please tell our fine audience who your favorite football team is.
I'm a loser Browns fan of the loser Browns.
Okay, but you have somebody that you can point to and laugh, and you're taking this opportunity. I think Lawrence at this stage, Tim, even though he's coming off a year where he had half a sack, think about that. Was he mailing it in? Hard to say. It's always difficult from the outside, but not great. I understand the Giants' position, like, no, ball out this year, and then we'll talk. And he's like, no. And for the Giants to get picked 10, but what everybody's saying with pick 10, it's not a good spot to be in. That's where, and this is where the Bengals, they could, all right, say there's a wide receiver that somebody wants to jump up. Okay, then you're moving down. I think that you're picking up a few years, too. I hear what you're saying, like pay Hendrickson and not the Bengals are the team, Tim, that puts their foot to the pedal, but yet they leave the emergency brake on. Like, what are you doing? What direction are you going in? They spent all this money on defense, and they didn't reward somebody that really kind of earned it. If it were me, I wouldn't have paid Higgins. I would have dealt him and drafted somebody younger. It's tough to pay 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
So, hey, this is all great from a Bill standpoint. Why? Because you're going to have the AFC West beating up on each other. Okay, the Chiefs will be back in some sort of capacity. Denver's not going anyway. The Chargers will be farting around, okay? Let's go over to this division you're talking about. The Ravens and Bengals, oh my. And the Steelers will fart around, okay? The North, a little more tricky. The Colts faded away. The Texans, Jaguars, but it's still not as barren as the AFC East. Yes, Patriot fan, I'm not giving you any respect. The Patriots they'll win the majority of their divisional games, but the idea that Buffalo can get fat against Miami and fat against the Jets, and hey, the division should be Buffalo's again this year. If it's not, something seriously wrong. And if the division's Buffalo, what have we been saying? What have I been saying here for the last how many years? Get the damn 1 seed. And then you don't have to go to Denver or Kansas City or whatever it is. I don't know how I pivoted to that, Tim. I know I am. The Bengals. Thank you, Tim. We're way late for the break. Joe Yurden. We will talk hockey. Hey, you're not banned like Luke was. In fact, nobody's banned from the show anymore. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. My name is Gene Battaglia here in the Flower City on the Sports Bar.
the employer.
WROCAM, WBEE HD2, and W239BF Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester. Sports Update.
It's on to game 2 for the Buffalo Sabres. How about the third period? 4 third-period goals, 4-3 the final in game 1 over Boston. And Coach Lindy Ruff on the atmosphere.
You could feel the building shaking again. Even upstairs, I guess they said the same thing. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and it was great to give our fans that third period. You always wonder what you're going to come out and how you're going to come out. We didn't make enough good plays. I think our puck play, we were a little bit jittery. It hurt us in a lot of aspects of our game, but that last 10 minutes, I really felt we got our game in a good place.
Game 2 tomorrow in Buffalo. We'll have it for you, of course. The Amerks best of 3. Yes, the Amerks get in thanks to getting to overtime yesterday in Hershey. Amerks game 1 Wednesday in Toronto. Game 2 is here in the Flower City on Friday. Red Sox leading the Tigers on Patriots Day 8-3. They're in the 8th. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Pull up a chair, stay for a while. You're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills! Americans! Red Wings and Nighthawks! Sports bar! For Rochester Sports Talk.
The Monday that doesn't feel like a Monday. You found us. Give us a call, 585-866-4326. You can write to us on X, our handle WGR Rochester. You can leave a comment for those watching on YouTube and Twitch right now. Gene Battaglin, our fine producer, Tim Schneider, Dan Drummy in the other room, who, all right, his Sens falling in game 1 against Carolina. What a hockey is so much fun when you get to the Stanley Cup last. Like, I feel kind of cheated, actually, that hey, they didn't get to see the end of Montreal-Tampa. I say this about the NBA all the time, mocking. It's like, okay, or baseball when we get to that. Like, do we really have to put every single game as a standalone? But for the NHL, sure, you're in these early rounds, they're going to have a little bit of a crossover. And by the way, I guess it's okay by me, but I certainly would have loved to see how Montreal took that in overtime yesterday. 7:30 tomorrow night on ESPN, and the price went down just a little bit. Getting price last night ended up at $424. Now it's at $359. So, wow, can you imagine that? How if we keep on going here. Or are you somebody that would love to just go stand out in the plaza outside, the party in the park sort of thing? Hey, that's like the next best thing if you want that communal kind of experience. Me, I like watching these games at home. Although last night, you'd think everybody would be in tune with Buffalo. And there's Subban and Mark Messier, and they don't know the name Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Or his friends and teammates call him UPL. Actually, I think it was actually, just kind of us from the outside. But, no, they had fun just mispronouncing it during one of the intermissions.
Embarrassing!
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, just a little bit of disrespect there. But Boston, they weren't the better team last night. It was really the Sabres out shooting them, out hitting them. All the stats told you that Buffalo was doing what they needed to do to hang around in this game, and then literally the floodgates opened on that. Just fantastic. We'll talk to Joe Yurden, noted hockey here, as I don't expect this series to kind of go away because the way the Sabres play, could somebody play back and make sure Pasternak doesn't get on a breakaway? 3 stars of the game. Okay, we're going to give Alex Tuck was good. But I think UPL kind of kept him in that game. Sure, there was the fluky power play goal with 6 seconds to go, but I'm not faulting him on the first goal. Dahlin blocks the shot, and then it just bounces right in the slot. Okay, that's always kind of out of good position. Now, I might be singing a different tune had not Geeky just kind of passed up on a wide open net. Like UPL was way out of position at the end of the first, but that was Boston not cashing in. The Sabres do, and we move on to Tuesday night, in which this is playoff hockey. It is going to be such a long process. I mean, that's why when you get done with the Stanley Cup playoffs, like everybody wants a drink. Everybody wants to party at this point.
Can I play something for you?
What do you have?
The goal. Just the crowd.
Oh, they did this morning, yeah. So that's the Samuelson goal, where you could hear faintly in the background Thompson. They're announcing his second goal to tie the game. But what makes that sort of special is the fact that you have the crowd, you kind of rise in volume when they see it. The puck is on Samuelson's stick, and he has the grade A of grade A looks here to potentially deliver and cash in. So good pull there, Timmy. And that was pointed out this morning, too, by our buddies in Buffalo, Jeremy and Joe. 866-4326 is our phone number. Tonight, you've got 4 games. Philadelphia-Pittsburgh, which, honestly, that's the one I'm like, whatever. Ottawa-Carolina, 7:30. 9:30 for Minnesota-Dallas. Dallas, that was like the shocker. Like, did they realize the game started on time on Saturday? And then Anaheim-Edmonton, which, Tim, I know you'll probably be up till 1 a.m. watching that.
I was up until 1 a.m. watching Utah and Vegas. I can't wait to do it again tonight. I can't wait. All playoffs, man. I am a Stanley Cup playoff fiend, so I'll watch it all, especially now that the Sabres are involved. That was chaotic for me. I had 9 hours of absolute hockey chaos. My stomach hurt for almost the entirety of it.
We will not play any Italian victory music until you get to a series win.
I was gonna follow that up. So I'm glad that you vetoed it.
Nope. We mentioned that last week.
It is Monday.
Yeah, this is like you get by Boston or the Emirates get by Toronto, we will celebrate accordingly. But we're not celebrating a Game 1 victory. We feel really good. We're feeling very fine. I got a postcard from Linda from Webster, and it's kind of a lost art, right? You go on vacation, and we're here, and I've never thought about taking a trip through the southern states. Like you're going to start in Georgia and then work your way over to Mississippi. Sounds like a great time. And Linda, you are such a kind person. That meant a lot. Your postcard, Linda. How are you this afternoon?
Oh, Gino, I'm great. What a game that was. Oh, I'm going to do a little reminiscing. I was in high school when the Sabres were in their first Stanley Cup finals, and they were playing Philadelphia, and we had to get through Montreal, and we had to get through the Islanders, and until we got to Philadelphia, and it was crazy. The town was just blue and gold. They were just beside themselves, and the energy from yesterday, I think, even surpassed that. I mean, that was the first time we got into the finals, but I think yesterday's energy just kind of was like bonkers. It was crazy. It's great to be a Sabres fan again, and great to talk about them, and I'm hoping that they just continue their winning ways and don't give up. That's really it. I was listening to Paul Hamilton earlier on WGR, and he said they just didn't give up. They just wore Boston down with their fast skating and a little physical play, and they didn't give up. And so I was also commenting about the person who calls in from Kansas City and thinks the Chiefs are so great. And I'm wondering, this is a question for him next, Jay Binkley, that's it.
Yes.
Next time he calls in, like, what's his take about Patrick Mahomes and the knee injury, and how is that progressing? Maybe there's been news about it. I don't know. We were out of town traveling. Just a thought, but anyway.
Linda, would it surprise you, or should I just look at this sideways, that they don't have a hockey team in Kansas City, and Jay is adopting the Sabres? Do you let him on the bandwagon, or say, no, sit this one out?
if he's on the bandwagon, he's on the last wagon. He can be in the caboose. Okay, I don't know. He would be like a hex, I think. That's where I would put him.
Linda, thank you. You're very kind there.
Okay, glad you like the postcard too.
Yeah, that was very sweet. And I can't think of the last time I actually sent a postcard. Like they have like special rate, right? Like you don't have to buy the actual stamp. Who sends letters anymore? I mean, it's a lost art just to see the handwriting. Hey, that was kind of cool. Maybe like Tim, when I go out to
having fun without you.
When I go out to Cape Cod, I'll be like, Tim, I'm here. You're not. Gene. That's how I would send a
I would take that. I would hang that on my refrigerator.
There's a yin and yang to sports, meaning very few have all their teams kind of like rising up and everybody's winning and everything is awesome. The Mets have lost 11 in a row.
Cursed.
The Mets, high payroll. Yes, Juan Soto is out of the lineup. I get that. But David Stearns blew up this roster, took out the heart. No, we're not paying for Pete Alonso. Okay, you paid for all these other guys. Why wouldn't you pay for Pete Alonso? Oh, because you want somebody better defensively. Have you seen Mark Vientos? He's not very good defensively at first. Oh, yeah, that guy Nimmo you traded for Simeon, and Simeon's kind of a zero in this lineup. Oh, Nimmo's batting .325 in Texas. That's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. And McNeil, okay, yeah, he's doing things in Sacramento too. But I digress. Good job on David Stearns and the Mets. But maybe this is going to work in reverse because I've been accused of this. I don't know if it's true or not, Tim. I have been accused over the years of overreacting in the month of April, meaning if the Mets are in first place come May 1st, that I strut like a peacock. I have been accused of that. I don't think that's true personally. Maybe this will work in reverse.
You trying to pack it in?
The Mets are trying to join the 1951 Giants, New York Giants, the 82 Braves, the 2017 Dodgers, and believe it or not, last year's Guardians, Tim, the only teams in postseason to make the postseason ever, despite a 10-game losing streak at any point in the season. I'm not going to do one of these wacky radio things like, if the Mets make the postseason, then I'm going to walk the Buffalo. No, there's very look at me on that. I'm just going to state my opinion here. This is a flawed roster and flawed thinking. This is a GM who thinks he's still in Wisconsin when you're in the Mecca. You're in New York City, and act like it. Okay, Polanco, please. You're shopping at the 5 and freaking dime. Okay, yes, you got the good pitcher from Milwaukee. Great, good for you. But you signed Devin Williams before Diaz left. Well, Devin Williams has been nothing because there really aren't any chances. But Yankee fans were laughing at us. Laughing. For good reason. Yeah, there was one game this weekend where, all right, maybe this will kind of break against the Cubs. And nope. Williams and Jeff Weaver, made sure that wouldn't have happened. So, fantastic. Baseball today, the Mets are off. They'll be back in action. Actually, they are going to be back home against Minnesota tomorrow night. And again, shame on baseball because they're scheduling. Wouldn't you think you would want to put Yankees Red Sox in a position where everybody would be watching? Not when you're going up against first round NHL and NBA, but that's what they have. So, folks in Boston, that'd be kind of interesting. What percentage of people in Boston would watch Bruins Game 2 or Red Sox Yankees opener at Fenway Tuesday night? Luis He will be starting for the Bombers. As much as I hate to say it, the Red Sox are still head and shoulders above everything else. Even playoff Bruins. Dare I say even playoff Celtics.
That's going to make tickets affordable. You want to go?
Yeah. Tickets for Red Sox Yankees, $44. So that's the highest. Yeah, that's for a Tuesday night game. That's not a good get-in price. Joe Yurden, Nordic Hockey, will join us. We'll have time for your calls and last call as well. It's 585-866-4326 here on a Sabre Victory Monday. Gene Battaglia with you on WGR Rochester.
Sports Update.
How about the Sabres? About last night. Sabres score 4 times in the third, 4-3. They take it over Boston in game 1. Tage Thompson with 2 of those goals.
I don't think by any means it was individual effort. I think if you look at both those plays, it's from both my line mates forechecking and disrupting and causing a turnover, and I'm in the right spot where a puck finds me off their pressure. And I think those 2 goals are exactly what we wanted to do all night. Put pucks behind them, pound their D, make it a tough night on them.
Game 2 tomorrow in Buffalo. We'll talk to Joe Yurden, noted hockey, joining us next year in the Sports Bar. The Amherst get into the postseason. They begin their best of 3 Wednesday night in Toronto. Patriots stay in Boston. At Fenway, the Red Sox hang on. It's just gone final 8-6 over Detroit. Rochester Red Wings begin a series at Scranton Wilkes-Barre tomorrow night. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, WGR Rochester.
Rochester's home for live sports and the best sports talk anywhere. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Just how much fun is this that we're talking hockey? We're not talking locker cleanout. We're not talking about the draft. We're not talking about free agency. That doesn't begin until July. It's the party that we get to be a part of now here in Western New York. At the game last night, Joe Yurden. Joe, I just, for everybody like myself that was not there last night, Joe, I always appreciate your time and your insight here. Joe, what was it like just being in the arena last night?
It was, it was it was unreal. I wrote a piece for Bleacher Report for today about talking about the crowd and how long of a wait this has been for fans here and for players too. And I tell you, I've been, a lot of us been saying for years, like, you get Buffalo back in the playoffs, you're going to see, because so much talk was about the crowd and why fans, the whole thing. And I was like, you're going to see something unbelievable in game 1. And boy, oh boy, did they exceeded every expectation I could imagine. And the one thing I was thinking as that game was going along, it's 2-0, third period. If Buffalo gets a goal, they're going to win this game because the crowd is going to be right back in it, and the way that they were going to rally behind them was going to be overwhelming. Because and boy, oh boy, I like to be right, but it was easy to be right about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how this game, I guess a lot of sports this is true, but little mistakes by Boston last night, in a game like that, they get magnified. Whether that's McAvoy not able to clear the zone, go back to Geeky at the end of the first period. What are you doing? Shoot the puck there. So and those aren't kids, Joe. Those are leaders on the team that didn't make plays when they had to.
Yeah, that Geeky one, man. I'm still shaking my head about that. I mean, yawning net, pucks on his stick. I get it. You want to settle it down. You want to get the best shot possible, but Luukkonen was in the total space, out of position, and all you got to do is just throw it at the net. Like, even if it's not laying flat, just throw it at the net, and maybe it just still goes in. But yeah, that's a huge mistake in that moment. And even the goals Boston scored, I mean, those were kind of not freaky plays, but Buffalo does the right thing the first time, and then it's just a quick follow up and it's a bang goal. But then the goals that Boston gives up, those are lost puck battles along the wall. On the first 2 goals certainly, and then the go ahead goal. It's Quinn talked about it today. He goes, guy broke a stick, and then he's got a 1-on-1 against the guy without a stick, and then Samuelson just creeps in, and he's all by himself. And it's little things like that can really swing a game. Things that you don't necessarily think about, you can't really plan for. Like, that's not in the strategy. Like, boy, if this guy breaks a stick at this moment in the third period, we got him. Things like that just don't happen. But sometimes when you're just on you get rolling and you stay on a roll, funny things can happen in a hockey game.
Yeah. Joe, I none of us know how this season's going to end for Buffalo, but what I could say is for teams that do win the Stanley Cup, they're often in positions where, hey, we're down. We've got to figure this out. We need a late goal to send it to overtime. What does a win like that for last night for Buffalo do in terms of a reference point here for the rest of the postseason?
Well, the interesting thing about how they won that game was they've played games like that throughout the regular season so many times where, they get down 1-0, even 2-0 in a game where, you keep up, you're reading social media as the game goes along, and you just, you're reading the fans just being like, geez, they ain't got it tonight. Like, it ain't going to happen. Whatever, get them next time. And the way the Sabres respond is like, they just don't, kind of mail in games like that. They keep the effort level up, and they battle back. They're able to get back into these games, and all season long they did that. Like they did it all year long. Where if they get one, the momentum comes right back, and then they just seize on it. And they've been so good about taking advantage of positive things happening and not letting negative things really wear them down. That it really helps them come back in situations like that. Granted, playoffs are a whole different beast, and it's not always going to be like that. But when you've got when you got home ice, and you've got a crowd that responds the way the crowd did last night, getting that first one was just such a monster swing of everything, because then the crowd is into it. They're like, every chance, every rush up the ice, the fans are right there, and they're like, all right, let's go get it. Go get that next one. And you really saw that pop through on Samuelson's go-ahead goal, because Quinn gets that puck, and then as soon as he swings around, everybody watched Samuelson come down the slot, and everybody says, yeah, and then he scores, and then the crowd's screaming and yelling even before the horn goes off. I mean, it's just one of those things where the team senses it, and fans certainly sense it, but the team senses it too. They're like, okay, we can swing this game, and I mean, it's crazy, but like they've won games like that all throughout the year, and like it just doesn't faze them now.
Yeah, Joe, so the game's over. If you're in the arena last night, I'm sure you felt like you played in the game, right? Everybody's on a high, but you're exhausted. And I'm sitting at home, and it actually takes me a second. It doesn't click in. I'm like, why are they playing Tina Turner? Oh my gosh, that's like they are owning this. So last night, run whatever that old song is, going down a river. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
You've covered this sport for many years. Like the anonymous quote that says the Sabres play river hockey. Now, is that to mean like somebody saying that it's unstructured? Is there any? Do you give that any merit whatsoever? Do we even know if who might have said that, Joe?
I really don't know who would have said that. I mean, honestly, it's the kind of thing where it can read negatively, but I read it kind of positive, where it's like these guys play loose. And loose can mean either like they just go for it, or loose like, oh, these guys are leaky defensively, they can give them up. I look at it as like the attack can come from anywhere. Guys are coming in from all over the place. You've got defensemen, jumping into the play. Suddenly you got forwards back on the blue line. And, I look at it as anybody can threaten at any time. Anybody can come in and get after it. And it's something where it makes it a little bit frustrating. I mean, not frustrating, but like a little confusing for opposing defenses, because you see a Samuelson jump up, you see a Dahlin or a Power or Byram, somebody like that. Even Stanley jumps into the play like a madman sometimes, and you're like, "Whoa, big man, let's go!" But but you see that happen, and then you're like, "Wait a minute, why is that guy here? Wait, who didn't I account for?" And if it's four guys that are in on the attack, then you're thinking like, okay, let's get back at it and counter them. But by that point, maybe you've already given one up, or, the goalie's got to cover it up for a freeze or something like that. And, it's really funny because the whole thing with the postgame, you mentioned they played Proud Mary after the games. And there's actually a clip of, I think it's of Gilbert Perreault singing it after a game. One of these times, because he used to sing Elvis after games, and but I think they found a clip of him singing Proud Mary, and that became part of like the post game win thing, where it would start with this quick little snippet video of Gilbert singing it, and then it goes right into Tina Turner and everybody playing it. It's just a thing, and like the whole river hockey thing just kind of helped bring that out of the woodwork even more. So, but yeah, I don't know. you can read anything as a slight, like, Marco Sturm saying, like, we're bigger and stronger than these guys, which I think is just kind of a statement of fact. They're bigger. They got some guys that hit harder, and, they can hit you like a truck, but I don't know. Sabres came out and were like, all right, well, let's see if you can hit big boys. Let's go get it. And they out-hit them by 20 or something. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. It's taking anything that can be a slight and making it a positive, which, I don't know. I think that's the kind of thing all of us could use to do in our lives,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's make it fun there. Joe, you're noted hockey. You could read his content also at the Bleacher Report. Let's talk a little about the lineup. I don't know. Do you change anything? Your thoughts on Timmins being on that last pair with Stanley, Greenway going in, Oslin not? Might we see Noah Oslin? Like, what decisions does Lindy Ruff here have to make for tomorrow night, Joe?
Lindy's been really good about not messing with something if it works, and I got a feeling he's not going to really tinker too much with it. He was very complimentary of the way the fourth line was able to work last night. Dunn being in the middle and playing that heavy game and get kind of forcing the issue on dump-ins where they can get in and lay the body and just kind of you can wear guys down by doing that. And he really liked the way that worked. Oslin's coming at some point. I don't doubt that. He's been skating, he's practicing, he's ready to go. I think it's just a matter of finding the right mix, the right matchup, and how that can work to their benefit. I don't know if that can happen on the road or not. Like where maybe you need somebody with and Austin can play. He's really good defensively. He's very creative offensively, and I think that maybe that's something that you can use a little bit more on the road. Although you don't get the matchups you want on the road. But I mean, right now Lindy doesn't really have much of a reason to kind of mess with anything. They played a really strong game last night, and yeah, they get down 2-0, but I mean they're out shooting them, they're out possessing them, they're out hitting, they're doing everything you want to see in a game. They just trailed early, and it got frustrating because of that. But I don't know how you really change things up. Lindy really likes Connor Timmins, and I think you kind of need things to be a little steadier there on that third pair because Stanley's played with everybody, and you're going to need a little chemistry now in the play, a little bit more chemistry in the playoffs.
I'm just hoping for the Sabres and their fans, Joe. Can we get a power play goal just to put an end to this? When they're saying like now that you can frame it like, hey, there hasn't been a power play goal here in April, and that doesn't sound really good. I mean, the one last night, my gosh, like Swayman's doing everything he can, and there's other times, Joe, where I just wonder, do they even know how to enter the zone here? Your thoughts here on what hasn't been a strong suit here of the Sabres here in this run here in April?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was seeing some memes pop up from Bruins folks saying that Sabres power play, Bruins power play, and it was like the same. It's the same thing. Both teams are kind of fighting it. I look at it like other teams come to play too, and the chances they got on Swayman. I mean, geez, I mean, if you're getting the chances, I don't think you feel bad about it. It's those busted entries where, things get rebuffed immediately. But a part of that is how Boston just plays. Like, they're able to just stack guys up on the line. And the thing everybody hates to do in the power play is to dump it in because you got to go get it. And if you got three defenders line up on the blue line and you got to dump it in, that means that whoever's not up on the blue line is back there to go fish that puck out. Or Swayman's pretty good at handling it, so he can get out and stop it and then play it away and get it to where it needs to go. That's the frustrating part with it. Finding a way to weave through, and I would the only thing I would like to see right now is things to be a little less casual on the power play. They got casual in Chicago, and it cost them a shorthanded goal against. They got a little casual last night. It turned into a quick shot on goal on Luukkonen, which is, I mean, you cannot have that in the playoffs. But this is, it's something where you need to analyze the tape, you need to go through it, and you need to kind of like work on it a little bit. They're gonna have a full morning skate tomorrow. Lindy kind of tipped us off to that today. So I got a funny feeling we might see some power play tinkering, some power play work going on in that little window they get on the ice tomorrow.
I thought. In particular, the first period, Joe, like, what are these officials? Do these officials know they're supposed to call things differently here in the postseason? Because they were very litigious last night there. Not a fan of the way the game was called.
Yeah, the ticky tack stuff. I mean, if you're establishing a standard for a series and you set that standard, it's like, okay, well then you have to stick to the standard. Thing is, like, so many times in the playoffs, you'll see those calls get made early to kind of say, like, all right, boys, this is how we're doing it. And then the third period, it's like, yeah, no, just do whatever you want. We're not getting in the way anymore. You guys had your chances. I don't like those little touch fouls that you get, a little stick on the hand where it's not even interfering in anything. It's not doing anything, but it's the official seeing the defender putting a stick in a place, and it's just kind of like, that's it. Get in the box. I don't like that stuff. I don't want to see them put the whistles away completely either. I think that's bad for business too. Like I hate that part of playoff hockey, but little dinky ticky tack stuff where it's, it's just, maybe, by the book, it's a penalty, but like in the flow of play, I mean, I don't know. The one that got me was the hook on Zucker, where it would have turned immediately, I think, into like a McLeod or a Quinn wraparound. And I was like, it's a touch foul, but like it would have led immediately to a grade A chance. And I'm like, maybe that's the one you call, but I'm just like, I don't know, man. That play happens, 100 times a week in the NHL. So like, why are we calling it now? That stuff gets frustrating, but I mean, if that's the standard, stick with it. But I got a funny feeling that ain't the standard.
Yeah, so many things going on. I was saying before you got on, Joe, like any other time, would have been watching Montreal, Tampa Bay, but that's going to be going up really pretty much head-to-head, only a half-hour separation between the puck drop there for Tuesday night. But from what you've seen, what you read, and we still have one series to get started tonight. That's going to be Anaheim and Edmonton, but what was the biggest surprise for you in any of these game ones? Was it Minnesota just dropping Dallas the way they did?
Yeah, that one sticks out because that's the series I've got. I had circled to be the one that I want to let if I got I got a night off or these guys aren't playing, I want to watch those games. And Minnesota came out and kicked them right in the teeth, and I'm just kind of like, well, all right, like I don't expect that to be the case for the whole series, but that's quite a shot across the bow to the Stars because, I mean, the Stars have made the West Final, 3 years in a row now. And, they've got every year they've got like one of the hardest roads to even get that far. And Minnesota is very good. And to have to, for Dallas to have to deal with them, I mean, Jake Ottinger's got to be on his game, and he hasn't had the best of seasons. I mean, he certainly looked pretty good against Buffalo in the season finale, but that's a real interesting twist. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if Dallas came out and beat Minnesota 6-1 in Game 2, and things changed from there. But yeah, I'm really hoping to see that one, and maybe semi-selfishly to see Montreal-Tampa go 7, because those to me are the two best matchups in the first round, and matchups that I hate seeing in the first round. Those are more ones that I want to see second, third round kind of things, not right away. I mean, NHL first round's the best thing in the world to watch. I don't need two heavyweights slugging it out in the opening round.
Joe, us here in Rochester, I think we got rewarded, meaning, okay, great. The Amerks are not going head-to-head for games 1 and 2 against Toronto. So game 1, Wednesday night in Toronto, game 2, Friday night. But it's only a best of 3. I mean, the Amerks they made it as close as they could to getting into the postseason. But now that they're here, how long realistically could this team stick around, or are they just so outmanned at this point? Anything we can get, we should just be thankful for here in Rochester.
Yeah, I would love to see a Superman hero run from Devin Levi in net. I know he's been asked. There's a lot that's been asked of him down there this year with all like the roster shuffling and everything that's going on with the Amerks. A lot's been kind of thrown on his shoulders, but it would be a lot of fun to see him kind of take this opportunity and just go on a tear in the postseason. We know he's capable of doing it. It would be a lot of fun to see him pull that off. But it seems a little stacked against Rochester right now, just given there's about 3 or 4 guys in Buffalo right now that they could probably make use of, and they would love to. But I mean, this is how it goes. Any other year in the past, they would already have them, and this would be a great time for Rochester. But they cut it as close as possible, and I think that's the kind of thing that happens where you get in last day of the year, and maybe you say like, all right, let's take a deep breath here and let's go. Let's make the most of this and get at it. But boy, Toronto's got a lot of guys there to make use of, and if they're able to get far in these playoffs, man, that's a heck of the feather of the cap for everybody there.
Joe, tell everybody about Noted Hockey, and you mentioned what you got up at Bleacher Report, all this great content. We want more Sabres content here, Joe.
Yeah. Noted Hockey, lots of stuff, and kind of prophetic. How I wrote a piece there recently about how the way, kind of what we talked about at the start of the segment. My goodness, about how the games they won this year are helped train them for the playoffs. A little bit there, some insight from Jordan Greenway and Beck Mallenstein and Bo Byram. Bleacher Report talking about last night's game one and the crowd and everything, and the players' reactions to everything. It's it's a lot of fun. I could be writing nonstop, and it wouldn't be enough for everybody, because this is turned into we're only one game in, but it's already a heck of a story.
Joe, great stuff. Hopefully we get many more conversations here this spring. Really appreciate the time, Joe. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, Gene. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Joe Yurden from Noted Hockey. While we're doing this hour, you had Brandon Bean, Joe Brady, Josh Allen talking to reporters. And one thing about his foot, he said, hey, they removed the bone. He wanted to keep the bone, something he didn't need. This was his offseason surgery. So he kind of joked that maybe it's out there on the black market somewhere. But then I think that if you're a Sabre fan, it's super surreal to see Josh Allen decked out in Sabre gear. He's wearing a Sabre hoodie and a Sabre hat. Last call is for you at 585-866-4326, the Sports Bar in WGR Rochester.
In the Flower City, the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
You know I love sports trivia. Here's one. Tim, which current Dallas Cowboy actually played professionally against a Rochester team here in Rochester?
It's got to be baseball, and I am blanking on the Cowboys roster. I apologize.
You are incorrect.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. I think it's
soccer.
Yes, it's Brandon Aubrey. So Brandon Aubrey was with Toronto FC2, and this was in the the latter years of the Rhinos, who, by the way, were really good at the end. It's unfortunate, and we can go down that road. And I hope someday we get professional soccer back in Rochester. And I wish certainly the Flower City Union all the best, but I'm talking USL. I'm talking, at that level. We will never get Major League Soccer, but to think that Brandon Aubrey, he was a draft pick of the Toronto MLS team, and then he is it's basically the minor league team. And then he ends up over in Bethlehem in 2018, and then, hey, maybe I should try this place kicking thing out in the NFL. I'm bringing this up today because he is the first kicker to earn $7 million a year, $20 million guaranteed.
Guy's got a boot.
I'm kind of torn on this because sure, and Kaimi Fairburn, he got paid earlier from Houston. He's good, 6.5. Harrison Butker, Kansas City, he makes money, but didn't Jacksonville just find somebody? Like, it can't be that difficult, right, to find a place kicker? That's why I'm going to plant my flag here. I mean, could the Bills draft a kicker this year? Could they draft a punter? They need a punter. The answer is no. Just wait until the undrafted free agency part of this, street free agents, if you will. You can fill there. And for Brandon Aubrey, like, that is quite the story, going from minor league soccer, playing in places like, I don't even know what the stadium was called then. What is it called now?
I don't know what it's called. I know what it's called then. I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah, just the soccer stadium downtown. Great show today. If you missed it, download the Odyssey app. We are on 1 to 3 weekdays here. We will have tomorrow on the show Matt Perino from the Shout Podcast, Mike Leone, Amherst head coach. For Dan Drummey and Tim Schneider, I'm Gene Battaglia. Show up on the Bulldog next here on WGR Rochester.